All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another WNBA video. We have a couple topics to get through here. Some really interesting topics. We're going to talk about the WNBA Commissioner Cup and your winners for 2025, the Indiana Fever. We're going to talk about the Aaliyah Edwards trade rumors from coming out of Washington, and we're going to talk about your All-Star captains for this year and your All-Star starters. So yeah, if you like what I say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment it down below. And if you like the vibes, consider subscribing. So first things first, we're going to talk about the WNBA All-Star Game because I said in my last video I was going to talk about it, and then I completely forgot. Absolutely, completely forgot. Um, I apologize for that, and this is a couple days later than I thought it would be, but it was fortuitous because they announced the starters. I think that day that video went up or the day after. So it kind of would have been stupid to talk about the captains without the starters. So it kind of worked out. So here we are. Um, let's talk about your two all-star captains, your leading vote getters. Um, your first captain, um, Caitlin Clark, two-time WNBA All-Star in her second year in the league, averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1 steal. First time as a captain. This is the first time they're doing captains like this. Yeah, this is the first time they're doing captains like this. It's usually East versus West, and they just shuffle the roster around for who got the most votes and everything like that. So, for those who don't know, this year the captains are going to get to draft their team, and it's going to be live on ESPN. The NBA has done this to some mediocre success. The draft is always more interesting in the game. I think the WNBA All Star Game will be better than the NBA All Star Game. I don't think they've announced any changes to the actual game. I think it's just going to be a regular WNBA game. And yeah, so your second captain, the MVP frontrunner as of late, and probably if you picked it preseason, you're looking really smart right now. Nafisa Collier, a five-time All-Star, first-time captain, obviously. 24 points per game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block and a half per game. So those are your two starters. Those are going to be your two starter captains that are going to be drafting their teams. Now, we're going to get into the starters. And I have no problem with any of these starters, actually. I think this is very, how do you say, just straightforward. Like, these are the people I expected to be in the game, except for one. But we'll talk about that in a second. Um, let's go from the bottom, actually. Let's go from the bottom. So, your first all-star starter voted by the fans. The fan vote contributed to a lot more of the starters getting in, and the coaches and players and everything will pick the bench and the reserves and everything like that. So your first one up is Asia Wilson, three-time MVP, multi-time All-Star. Glad to see her back in this game. I don't even does she play well in the All-Star game? I don't even remember if she plays well. I might be talking out my ass, but um, good to see it back. Brianna Stewart, multi-time All-Star as well, is your second starter for the starter pool. Multi-time All-Star, having an okay season. Her three ball hasn't been the best, but um, she's done serviceable. She's serviceable. Um, the third one, which I really wanted to get in this game, Satu Sabali, um, having a really good year. I talked about her and her team in my last WNBA video. I think it was my last one, and very happy with her play. Her three ball needs a little work, but that will come along, and she deserves to be here. This might be her second or third All Star appearance. A surprise one that I voted for when I was actually doing my list, like live for the video, and I was thinking of more forwards I could vote in, and then I thought, why don't we put Neka in here, Neka Gumake in here? And she is here. She is an all-star starter out of Seattle, playing for the Seattle Storm. So congrats to her. The Storm are having a surprisingly good season. I didn't think they'd be this good. Her and Skylar Diggins putting together some great seasons. We'll see if they can carry it on after All-Star, but a good nod to be here. Um, the second New York Liberty player here, Sabrina Ionescu, always going to be here as long as you're in New York and you're in a big market. And the way she's playing, the way she plays, I don't think she's playing the best this year, but she has had some good games, so she's here. Congrats to her. The biggest surprise on this list, um, Alicia Gray out of Atlanta. It wasn't even on my radar. I saw some buzz for her, obviously from Atlanta Dream fans, but I didn't think she actually get here. But yet here she is. Congrats to her. Um, the next one wasn't a surprise to anybody. I don't think I said this um, I think in the video that I did the voting. I said this about Rookie of the Year as well. Is that Paige Beckers is an All-Star starter in her rookie year. So big congrats to her. Um, team is ass. Team is really bad. The team sucks. It's absolutely terrible. Has put together some really good games recently though. Paige has, so congrats to her. Um, Figuring it out in the WNBA is hard, so she's working her way through it. But really good stuff. I think she was just named Rookie of the Month for last month as well. So there's that. So Dallas gets their one All Star. The second one is joining her Fever teammate as a starter, and that is Aaliyah Boston. I am pleasantly surprised with Aaliyah Boston. I have her penciled in for. She was actually my second pick for Most Improved Player. She was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. So she is here. I'm very happy about that. And yeah, this is going to be interesting because I was watching something. They were talking about it, and this happened with the NBA as well. They just pick their friends. Some people just pick their friends, and some people actually want to win the game and like kick some ass. And nothing for nothing, I think Caitlin Clark is going to want to beat some ass. Um, Not to say that like she's not going to draft Aaliyah Boston, but Aaliyah Boston might not be the first pick. I think as a courtesy, she will probably be the first pick. But like if I was Caitlin, I no. Here's the thing. It depends who has the first pick. If I was Caitlyn, I would purposely use the first pick to sabotage Nafisa. So I would take like Brianna Stewart or something, and I would make like Asia and Nafisa Collier be in the front court together. Like I would do everything in my first couple of picks to like mess up the other person, just so like they can't get the people they want. You know, because Nafisa and Brianna Stewart share a business together. They started Unrivaled last summer, and that was a huge success. So if you could like mess up the other person and mess up their whole draft board, that's what I would do. I would intentionally like sabotage the other person, and then of course try to build a competitive team along the way. But sabotage is the best form of what do you call it? Of like confusing somebody. Be like, whoa, wait, who you took? Who? And this always happens with these drafts, and it's the interesting part about the NBA too is who does everybody think would be the less entertaining to play with, or the least best person to play with, the worst person to play with, and amongst all stars, is it some is it Alicia Gray? Is it NECA? Is it Sabrina? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see who gets picked last, because whoever gets picked last is never mad. I don't think anybody's ever been mad about it. In the NBA, it makes sense. Like when Rudy Gobert was in the pool, they were like, "Yeah, Rudy Gobert is gonna be last because he's not gonna play, and nobody wants to see him play." But in the WNBA, all these players are really good, and there isn't like, and it's interesting because Caitlin Clark's a point guard, Nafisa's a forward, so Nafisa's gonna need a point guard, and Caitlin's gonna need forwards. So it's going to be interesting to see like, is Nafisa going to take Paige? Is Nafisa going to take Sabrina? Is Caitlyn going to take, again, like Brianna Stewart, Asia Wilson, Satu, or Neka, like, or Aaliyah, like these are things that are interesting that I'm very interested to see what is going to happen, what is going to break down. Who does Caitlyn and Nafisa think is the worst player amongst these all stars? Because you're an all star for a reason, but again, at the end of the day, it's a game. And who's going to be the most entertaining? Who's going to be the most fun to play with? This is what you're building for. You want to win the game, but also like you don't want to play with somebody who's going to drag you down. You're going to drag your whole team down. I don't think any of these girls are going to do that, but it's going to be super interesting to see like who's last. I would put my money on Alicia Gray, not because I was surprised by her being here, but just because like you're gonna tell me you're gonna pick Alicia Gray over somebody like NECA or Satu or like Paige or somebody like that. Like there are levels to this, and there's a hierarchy to this. I'm not gonna go through the whole hierarchy right now, but like the ladies like Asia's, Brianna, Paige, um, Sabrina are in different tier than NECA, Alicia, and Aaliyah. It's different. No disrespect to anybody. I just thought it was. I just think it's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be some drama. Um, Anyways, the next thing on my list is the Washington Mystics are apparently shopping their draft pick from was it a couple years ago or the year before. Aaliyah Edwards, not to be confused with Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Edwards plays forward for the Washington Mystics. Aaliyah Boston is a center for the Indiana Fever, who is an all-star who we just talked about. So just want to clear that all up. They are apparently shopping her around, which was a surprise to a lot of people. Um, you don't get a lot of mid-season trades during the WNBA, but it seems as of late, as of what the Indiana Fever or the Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Wings, and the Las Vegas Aces did, they made a little trade for the Wings to get a draft pick and for the Aces to get a forward slash center to bolster their front court. So you don't get a lot of trades, but it seems this is a very real possibility. And as somebody who isn't too deep in the WNBA trades in the sense of like mid-season, I've never really understood it because the season is so short. But now that's a little bit long, I could understand trying to fix your roster, trying to turn around your season. Um, in this case, I think it's just um, creating more minutes for your draft pick this year, which was Kiki Ariafin. Said it right, second time in a row. And I saw some buzz that like Kiki just took Aaliyah Edwards' starting spot right from under her as a rookie, which is crazy. Um, if we go look and we go compare their stats here, let me see. Aaliyah Edwards, I pull Aaliyah Edwards up here. Aaliyah Edwards is 4 points, 3 rebounds on the season. For her career, she is for her career, she's where is it? Where's points? Where's points? For her career, she's almost 7 points, 1 assist, 5 rebounds, no blocks, no steals, and a turnover and a half. And her field goal is around 47, which is pretty good. Um, she's played 47 career games, so she's basically played what you would play this year, which is 44 over the course of I guess how many is it's her first season in the league? That's not right, is it? No, that's not right. Anyways, compared to Kiki, who they just drafted this year. So she has 1 year NBA experience. This is so weird. So I'm looking at ESPN, and they have it listed as like their birth date, their college, their draft info, their status, and then they have their experience, and it says rookie, and then on Aaliyah's it says first year, first season. You mean like for second? This is her second season, but she has 1 year NBA experience, so it's 2 years experience. Stupid. Um, Kiki on the season, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. So I can see where people are coming from where Kiki just took her starting spot. Um, Now, that being said, WNBA trades midseason don't happen that often. I'm not that in tune with the value of players in the sense of like what they are worth, player for player, pick for pick. So I've gone to Reddit, WNBA Reddit, and this is 2 days ago from Film Stradamus on Reddit. Shout out you. Um, had some ideas here. I'm gonna read through them. Um, they say here that they're looking for opportunity and playing time for Aaliyah. Some of these might be Seattle. Seattle could be very interesting. I don't know. I don't know if you want to mess it up because you're on a roll right now. I would take them out. Dallas. Dallas is a hot one because Paige Becker's the UConn connection. Aaliyah Edwards also played at UConn. I think they might have crossed paths at some point. Um, I think Paige might have been injured the year she was there, or the couple years that she was there. So they only had minimal playing time together, but it could be a possibility. I don't see a world. I see a world in which Aaliyah could get traded for draft picks. If you want to flip that draft pick you just got from Vegas for Aaliyah Edwards with another draft pick and like another player, do it. Maybe this is a wild one. Maybe Arike for Aaliyah Edwards. Maybe that's a wild one I'll throw out there. That would be something. Because it is going to be Paige's team. Like, Arike is a good player, and I've talked about this in every video. I've talked about the Dallas Wings, but it's going to be Paige's team. I don't think Arike and Paige long term work together. So if you could get her at the building in a rookie year and get her to Washington where she could actually put up her shots like Arike likes to, and then you get Aaliyah Edwards, I'd do it. The other one here is Indiana. Indiana's super interesting. Um, I don't see in which a world that would work in the sense of like Indiana sort of win now and Aaliyah looks like a sort of a project and maybe she hasn't fully been able to showcase her talents, but I'm not taking a risk on somebody to show their talents if I'm trying to win this year and I just won the Commissioner's Cup. I'm not doing that. I'm keeping the team the way it is. Indiana's a no for me. So Dallas is the only one I could physically see right now. Another one here is Minnesota, who just lost in the Commissioner Cup final. Again, I don't as a team going for it, I don't think you want to take a risk on Aaliyah, who you know what she can do, but you don't know if she can do it at the WNBA level, at the highest level of winning a championship and winning playoff games. So no, that's a no for me. The other one I see here is Rika Jackson, who plays for the Sparks, for Lee Edwards. This is one I like because it's looking like Cam Brink is not might not be back this season. It's looking sort of tentative. She's being very cryptic. The team's being very cryptic about her return. I think she got hurt at this point last season, so it's almost been a full year since she's been injured. Knees for women aren't the same as knees for men, so it is going to be interesting to see how Cam Brink comes back. But I think if you bring in Aaliyah Edwards on this young, up and coming Sparks team, it could be that good window for where she has enough time to showcase her talents, has enough time to develop, and by the time Cam comes back, by the time this team is ready to compete, Aaliyah might be showcasing her full set of talents and showcasing her full range of weapons she has at her disposal. Um, so my two favorite would probably be Dallas and the Sparks. There's going to be a surprise team that comes in here and sneaks her away. That's how it usually goes down in any league. Is there you hear these rumors about places and things and whatever, and then it never happens. It just goes to a completely different team. She goes to like freaking what's another team? Um, man, I can't think of another team. Damn. Some other team. For example, like Phoenix, or something like that. Something crazy like that. All right, let's talk about the most recent thing that happened. Some of that's the last things are a bit of old news. The ladies in front of you are your 2025 Commissioner Cup champions, the Indiana Fever. They were without Caitlin Clark, the big name, the big star. This game was not on ESPN. It was not on ABC. It was not on any of those networks. It was on Amazon. And I did not get a chance to watch it live. I watched some of the box score. Minnesota went on a couple runs. Indiana showed their toughness though, and I was pleasantly surprised with their effort and their play style. Um, I want to say something, and I might get in trouble. Not in trouble, in general, but in trouble for my opinion, because that's what happens in the WNBA circles. Let's talk about Minnesota and why they lost this game. Minnesota just looked gassed. They looked tired. I caught the highlights. I watched a couple of highlight tapes. They just looked gassed. They didn't look like they could keep up with this young Indiana Fever team. Um, the two people that are a big they're everybody looks gas. I want to make this very clear. When I'm looking at these field goal percentages here, they all look bad. They all look freaking terrible. But there are two people specifically here that I've always had questions about, and I'm not gonna take this opportunity to dunk on them, to make fun of them, or do any of that. I will take the opportunity to express my opinion about it. However, the two players in the Minnesota Lynx that always have question marks for me are Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride. But Kayla McBride was a was a um a Las Vegas Ace once upon a time, and I got to watch her a lot. And I actually grew to like her game a lot. She takes some threes that you probably should make, but she doesn't really make them all the time. Neither here nor there. That happens with all the shooters, right? When you're 1 for 7 and 0 for 3 from three, and only took 5 free throws and have 7 points, that doesn't scream championship level player to me. Not to dunk on her, not to be mean to her, but it's just my opinion. After watching her for a handful of years, the same things still arise in these big moments, in these big games where she kind of lays an egg. Um, Same goes for Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams is a great player. I like her intensity. I like her love of the game. 4 14 from field goal, 1 to 2 from three. Her one three she made was a very tough three. I'll give her that. 11 points, 6 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, no steals, no blocks. That doesn't scream championship player to me. Um, that being said, they get to play with the presumed MVP in Nafisa Collier, an All-Star captain this year. 6 for 18, 0 of 2 from three, 12 points. She laid an egg. It's just the facts. Um, Again, everybody looked gassed. Everybody looked tired. So I can't really be mad at it, but at the same time, you sort of have to lay the facts where they may lie. Um, the best player last night, Alana Smith, five, 5 for 11 from field goal, 3 of 7 from three, 15 points, was trying her ass off out there, trying her butt off out there. Um, I'm a big fan of Alana Smith. I've been a fan since, oh man, I think when she was in Phoenix, yeah. Yeah. When she played, yeah, Phoenix, yeah. Well, yeah, what's that? Yeah, Phoenix, yeah. So she's been really improved this season. I don't know what it is. I think it's just maybe the open looks, maybe the tenacity, maybe the physicality she gets to play with now is great. And she was the best player for Minnesota last night. And then Bridget Carlton here, um, 0 points. And then nobody else was in double digits. Jessica Shepard for the Lynx, um, 9 points, 5 rebounds. Had some tough looks at the basket and made them. 4 4 from field goal. They probably should have gotten her involved a little bit sooner. So there you go. But that was the only that her and Alana were the only bright spots for Minnesota last night. Moving on to the Fever. Um, they had a hell of a game. Um, they they stayed off some runs in the first half, and then in the second half, they had some really big threes. They had some really good movement of the ball, and the MVP of the game and the lady who got MVP officially, Natasha Howard, 16 points, had 6 turnovers. Let's not ignore that. Uh, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, um, 4 of 10 from field goal. Did not take a three, did not need a three. Shot 8 free throws, made all 8 of them. Um, Impressive stuff, man. She had some crazy shots through the course of this game where she was looking like Tim Duncan out there. She was just floating it. She was going under the basket. It was great. It was actually a great watch. And the highlights also. It was pretty freaking cool. Um, Aaliyah Boston, some great assists. I've been saying I love her passing out of the post. I love her passing out of rebounds. 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 12 points. Um, Only 1 turnover, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Natasha Howard also had 2 steals. 5 of 15 from field goal. She made her first shot. She missed like 6 shots straight, and then she made her first shot in the second quarter, and then the game just opened up for her. Kelsey Mitchell, 12 points, 6 of 16 from field goal. Did not hit a three, could not buy a three. Had 3 assists. Not her best game, but okay. Ari McDonald, Aria McDonald, 5 of 6 from field goal, 2 of 3 from three, 12 points. Exactly what they need when Caitlin's out. Lexi Hole, 6 points, had some huge, huge threes. Huge threes. Um, yeah, really good stuff. Um, let's see here. Caitlin Clark was a scratch. She didn't play. Off the bench, the best player off the bench, Indiana Fever, Sophie Cunningham, 13 points, 3 of 5 from three, 2 of 2 from free throw, 4 of 6 overall. She played 26 minutes. She essentially played starter minutes. Um, really good stuff. This is what's scary about this Indiana Fever team now, is that they've learned to win without Caitlin Clark. And I'm not saying it's a blessing that Caitlin Clark got hurt, but these are this is the maturation process of a team when you have a superstar like Caitlin Clark, who's not having a superstar year, but is still a superstar in name. The game plan for teams when they go into film study, when they go into who's going to guard who, it's always stop Caitlin Clark. That's what is a superstar to me. That's what's a star to me. Is the game plan is the defensive game plan for the other team is to stop you. So this Indiana Fever team has learned to win without Caitlin Clark, and they've done it on one of the biggest stages um, in the WNBA so far. I mean, say what you do about the Commissioner Cup, the players want to play because they earn a lot of money. Caitlin Clark said it on Instagram Live, is that you get more money for winning the Commissioner Cup than you do the WNBA championship. So players want to win. Players want that money. So if that's the incentive that the Indiana Fever needed to get over that hump and learn to win without Caitlin these last couple games, and then this biggest game against one of the better teams in the league and the Minnesota Lynx, who have championship aspirations, you just kicked butt. That's pretty awesome to me. I do want to note, I saw something that almost every team that has lost the Commissioner Cup the last couple of years has won the WNBA championship. So the Lynx, it might not be a bad thing for them. History might repeat itself, and they might win the championship, and this might not even matter. But I think if it works out that way, that I think this is a huge growing point for the Indiana Fever. But I also think maybe you can look back on this and the Lynx like, damn, we got our ass kicked by a young team that probably shouldn't beat us. And then they go on to win the championship. I think that's a win-win in my book, and that promotes good basketball for women in the women's game. So yeah, if you like what I had to say, like the video, all that good stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. Will there be more WNBA stuff? I don't know. I probably should have looked up if there was a game, but I already closed the window, so we will see. um, Before we get out of here, your MVP is on the top left for the Commissioner Cup. Um, Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham next to each other on the right. Caitlin Clark in the sweats and the t-shirt on the right as well. Aaliyah Boston, top right. Um, yeah. What else do I want to say? That's it. That's it. This was great. Commissioner Cup. I think this midseason NBA, this midseason tournament is better than the WNBA than the NBA. And I've thought that for a long time, and I think this proved it. This was the one that was like, oh yeah, this one's really entertaining. This one's really fun. So yeah, um, WNBA All Star Weekend's coming up soonish. We'll talk about more about that. We'll talk about participants and I think like the 3-point contest and everything like that. That will be announced soon. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.